Alright, we're live. Hey, guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with another post-match reaction. I know the match is finished, but it's as it says in the title, unlucky boys. I watched the game, and I apologize, I was supposed to do a watch-along to it, but I just had a few other things that I was doing. So I'm just going to do a brief post-match reaction, but like I said, I did watch the game. I did think that... I thought we played well, I thought we were unlucky. I think that, frankly, if Chong, I think it was, that actually scores that goal when we're 1-0 up, 1-0 by Jesse Lingard, then, I think we win the game, So, but as football has it, and as football always seems to have it, we lose. Well, he misses the shot, obviously, and then we concede, and then that's that. So yeah, it's, I don't know how to feel of it. I think first and foremost, I think I don't want to go in too much over all these players are not fit to wear the shirt, or all these players they don't know what it means like to play for Manchester United, or all these players they're not good enough. I think I saw a lot of potential, and to be honest, in the first half of the game, I think United, you played very well. I think Astana, essentially just sat back for the first half. They weren't really doing anything. We had a lot of space. We're moving the ball. More importantly, we're passing forward. Yes, there were occasions we were passing to the outside, but what I liked about the whole thing was that we were actually passing forward. We were trying to create chances, and I thought that was. I thought that was very, very good. Very good. If you look at the likes of Gomez, obviously Greenwood with opportunities, even Lingard, and I think Levitt in the midfield as well. We played well, and I think we deserved the lead. Lingard with a good strike to get that goal, although I think for some other parts of the game was actually quite wasteful. But yeah, I just think that. I think that in the first half, as far as I'm concerned, United, and for the most of the game, to be honest, United dominated, and there's no, I don't think anything is disagreeing with that. And you think, right, okay, we're going to go ahead from here, and we're really going to, carry on, if that makes any sense. What seemed to happen, unfortunately, is that, and again, and this I think is where. We continued the momentum, I guess, for the first probably maybe 10-15 minutes. And I guess, to be fair, a lot of these players, and this is something that people need to bear in mind, is that a lot of these players would not have played 90 minutes of full, men's football, as it were. And I think that it's important that people understand that, under 23s, under 21s football is different. I don't care what anyone says about the fact that, oh yes, it's FC, it's only FC Astana, they play in the Kazakhstan league, it's no big deal. Men's football, a lot of these Kazakhstan players, even if they're playing in a lower quality league, they will still play 94 minutes of full men's football, and struggling with that, if that makes any sense. So we're not struggling with that, but they'll obviously be, how can I put it? They'll be used to it. So, a lot of these players, it's a big thing for them. I mean, we effectively had at 1.8 or 9 debutants in this game. So the only real players that had come back, that come back, or senior players, were Jesse Lingard, who I think had an okay game. I don't think he had the goal was good, but I think outside of that, I don't think he had, a great game. Luke Shaw, who I'm going to talk about a bit later, because I think that Luke Shaw, football fan, at least they tried. Yes, I agree. They did try, and that's why I put unlucky boys in my column, because I do think they were unlucky. But when it comes to the second half, this is where you need a coach. And one of the things I was surprised by again is that, I guess maybe Solskjaer just thought, you know what, it's a free game, just run around, do whatever. But I felt there's a lot of potential in this group of players, a lot of potential, and if they are coached and coached well, these players could become something else. And my concern for a lot of the United youth that we can see here is that they are not, that they're not being coached. That they're not they're not being coached, but I'm not sure whether they're being coached well. That for me is my big concern. Are these United players actually being coached well? I don't know. Because I expected something to change in the pattern of play. I expected something that was just a bit, different, possibly. We certainly tried to go for it maybe in the last 10 or so minutes or so, but outside of that, there wasn't really much change. Luke Shaw came back from injury, and if I'm honest, I'm a bit he's just coming back from injury, but I think certainly for the second goal, well, I think for both goals, to be honest, they both came down our left-hand side where Luke Shaw is. At times I was looking at it going like, where's Shaw? Where's Luke Shaw? Why is there a gap in the defence? What is actually going on? And I thought that was a bit... maybe he's just not fit yet. I don't know. Maybe he is just not fit. But... I felt, and I felt for Bernard. I did feel for the Bernard kid. The own goal. It's not what you want in your debut. He's wanted to take a chance and getting this experience. And I feel like a lot of these young players need to go out on loan, need to go out and get more experience, because the only way for these young players to get better is not for these one-off European occasions, but it's actually to go abroad. Or go into the country, get a loan, and take things from there. Jamie Villapando says, people criticizing youngsters on Twitter make me sick. I agree. This whole sort of not fit to make the shirt thing, I think is a load of nonsense. Thanks for joining, by the way, Jamie. Shout out to you, brother. At the end of the day, this is a team that has not played together. Okay, that's what people need to understand. This is not a team that's not played together in quite some time, or at all. And they're stepping up to men's football. And like I said, for me, to be honest, I actually felt we played all right. I was really impressed by especially Lingard, but also Garner. I think Gomez had I think they had good games as well. Greenwood, I think, had at least a couple of opportunities where he should have buried them, but was creating a lot of opportunities. So Chong, I don't know. I think Chong needs to go out on loan. I think he because I see a player there, but I think he needs to develop, and I think that's what I'm saying. Looking at this game and summarising them overall, the two things that I see are either one, that a lot of these young players, if they're going to succeed at United, need to go out on loan because they're not getting enough games, enough experience. Twansibi, and I'll shout out to Twansibi. Twansibi, looked quite assertive at the back, and there is a question to be had about, can Twansibi step up to the first team? I think that's a possibility, and I would like. It's good to see him back fit because I would like to see a Maguire-Twansibi partnership. I think that Twansibi, I think the positive. Lindelof is great as a ball distributing centre back, and that's a sentiment that we need to have. But I think in the system right now that we have, especially when we play two holding midfielders, and especially when we play with two holding midfielders that don't really tend to pass forward, I think you need someone who is better in the air and better at winning duels. And I think that's what Twansibi gives you. Jay Ronaldo says, the honestly didn't play bad. First half, they're really dominant. Absolutely, I agree with that. Lard, Levitt, Garner, Gomez, Twansibi, Green were good today. Exactly. I perfectly agree with all those, and like I said, the reality is that all the other players that weren't named, again, they're just starting. They're just really starting. So I think it's very, you can't just judge. These youth players need our encouragement and they need our support. During this time, like they've lost the game, they've got positive, they've got an experience. It's not the best experience because obviously they've lost. But I do think that they need us fans to actually get behind them and encourage them, and not to slate them on Twitter and custom what have you, which unfortunately some United fans are doing. But the only negatives, like I said, I want to talk about briefly are the three negatives I would argue is the lack of leadership of although Jesse Lingard was the captain and he did step up and score a goal, and fair play to Jesse Lingard for doing that, I didn't really see that as a captain, the leadership from him as a captain. I didn't really see that at all, and I think that was somewhat disappointing. So there's that, I think, was important, and especially when they conceded, when they're down, I was like, where was that? And I think that's been an issue with United, to be honest, all season, is that where are the leaders in this Manchester United side? The best teams are not teams that just have youth all the time. The best teams are the teams that have a mixture of youth and experience. So that youth with that innocence and passion, that drive, but also the experience that when things don't go according to plan, you have a backup. And that's something that I think United have continued to sorely miss. The other thing, as I already mentioned, is Luke Shaw. I think that Jamie Villalpando, 20 needs to play Maguire. I agree. Lingard masterclass in December, incoming well. Who knows for Jesse Lingard, to be honest, because it's clear that, from what I can see anyway, Dan James, Martial and Rashford, if they're fit, are going to be how we're going to play, and Lingard is going to come up. Lingard is clearly not in favour at this moment in time, and I think that Jesse Lingard had an opportunity to step up today, and did he? I'm not sure. He did it. He scored a very good goal, and I think that's really good, but I'm not sure whether he really took advantage of the fact that this was a game where he really needed to sort of step up and do something. I don't think he did. So the other before I get the other negative, like I said, is that I just think that Luke Shaw he didn't look fit to me. He didn't look fit at all. So I guess in one way this is good to bring him back, a good game to bring him back, but he just didn't look fit. And a lot of times in that game where our left side was exposed. And so for anyone who's saying that Luke Shaw should start and come straight into a game against Villa, who are actually all right. People forget that Villa are not a bad side. Yes, they've come up, but they are not a bad side by any stretch of the imagination. I think that it's best to probably start Brandon Williams or maybe an Ashley Young, and then maybe get Luke Shaw into. I'm not entirely sure, but that's how I see things. So overall, I think we did okay. It's disappointing. It's unlucky that the boys were not able to get a win. I think, as Jamie has even mentioned, I think you have a big shout out to the likes of Twansebe, of Lard, of Levitt, Garner, Gomez and Green. I think they all had solid performances. I'll bet on the losing side, and I certainly think that we need to give them more time. I think the best way is via a loan system, and I think that a lot of these United players should basically we should do a Chelsea, and that's how Lampard did it as you. Do a Chelsea, send them all out on loan from numerous teams, get the experience, and then for those who handle it and improve, they can come back in and not just stay in the under 23s or under 21s, etc. I think that's very important. And as James rightly said, it's great experience for lads still. I agree, it's a very good experience, and that's what should be hidden here. That despite the result is not a positive one, this is actually good experience for the young lads, and it's very important that they basically take that experience and take the experience forward in their Manchester United careers. Fair play to Astana. I felt actually they came out a bit more in the second half when they got that goal back. I think obviously the crowd. I think there was a lot of people that applied. I think there was I've read a statistic that I think is a 30,000 stadium, and yet 300,000 people applied. For those tickets. That's insane. 300,000, so only 1 in 10 got tickets, but 300,000 applied for this game because this is a big game for them. And although they're bottom of the group and they're not going by anywhere, they turned up to support their team, and fair play, despite the weather conditions. Don Roger, thank you very much, mate. I've just been comment. There is nothing particularly special about these players. The only loans, however, the majority of them will go on to be average 3-5 star players. I mean, that is a fair point, and the reality is that this is the natural thing of most youth players. This is what happens to most youth players. You know, academies have tons of youth players, and most of youth players will inevitably go on to other things, whether it's other clubs, or they end up being average. You know, that is, you know, that's the reality of youth and youth academies. Even during Sir Alex's time, how many youth players sort of really came through? That it was a mixture, as I said earlier, about with experience and youth players. But what I would say though is that we can't use this game as a judgment of how these young players are going to do on the centre stage. You know, any player, wherever they are, whatever level, in order to develop, you need to play games. You need to play games regularly. You need to play games at a higher level. You look at what happened with Jadon Sancho. No one would have given a crap about Jadon Sancho had he stayed at Manchester City. He wouldn't have got any game times. He might have had the odd occasional EFL, and people would have just, you know, made him passing, just like they're doing with Phil Foden at Manchester City. Jadon Sancho, he went to Dortmund and applied himself, and that's where he's basically making his trade. You know, so you know you need that, and as you obviously said, they all need loans. You know, loans. I think are very, very important. You know, because I think the one reason why Chelsea and Lampard has been able to do so well at Chelsea is because a lot of the Chelsea players have been out on loan. Tammy Abraham has had 3 years out on loan with various different clubs and Premier League experience. So they need that. They can't just be stuck in the under-23s. Don Rodgers again. Ole's a shit manager who can't coach and has no prowess for in-game tactical management. That's harsh, but is that not far from the truth? You know, I think that's certainly closer to the truth that we see. And I was going to point out in this game is that one of the things that you know, I was surprised by in this game was just the lack of that. You know, where was that in-game manager in this game? Yes, it's just a young players game. Yes, it's just youth, but I didn't see the tactical, you know, was he going to throw another forward? I don't know. It was just strange. And the thing about these, I see potential in these players, but the question is there potential to be coached? Do they have the right coaching staff to unlock that potential? And I'm not entirely sure. And to be honest, if we're honest, in the last couple of years, if we're talking about a standout youth player that's broke through, you know, it's obviously that we haven't signed so far. It's Marcus Rashford. McTominay is probably a second, and that's about it if we're talking about players that come from our academy. Lingard has been average, you know, so you know, that's where we are. That's where we are. Jamie Vapor, this game shouldn't have a fact on Ole. So that's all that said, I agree with that. I think I'm talking in general terms, so I agree with that. It shouldn't have a fact on Ole. Don't matter if we won today. This game didn't matter. Agree, because I think Villa, and to be honest, most games, or Sheffield United for that matter, are more important. Our league position. The only thing I'd say is that it's clear. I've already said for quite some time that I don't think we're going to get top 4. So what is the expectation for this season? Even if we bring in a new manager, I still don't think we're going to get top 4 with this squad. So the expectation, in my opinion, is an aim to win the Europa League and possibly get a trophy. That should be the aim for United this season, because we're not going to get top 4. At best, we might get a 5th or 6th place position. Don Wagner, I want Eric Ten Hag. Fair enough. I'm judging Ole over his entire decade as a coach manager. Yeah. And like I said, I completely agree with the idea that, like, I agree with both of you in that I don't think Ole should be judged on this game, because at the end of the day, ultimately this whole game was just about giving the youth some experience in a European game, and that was it. Whether they won or not, it wasn't going to suddenly mean that these young players were going to suddenly turn up for the first team. I'll bet maybe your Greenwoods and your Transibis have given themselves a case, and it's good fitness for Luke Shaw and Jesse Lingard to try and prove themselves a bit more. Though I don't know whether either of them. All Luke Shaw really did for me was he proved that he's not fit yet, and looks like he's put on a bit of weight again. And that Lingard, you know, really doesn't add much to the team really, aside from an odd occasional really good goal, but that's about it. And that's a bit concerning. But yeah, it's it's weird. It's. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy that the youth players are able to get something soon. I think that other clubs should lead by example. I do think that one of the criticisms that you see with the likes of City in particular is that they don't give the young players enough time to flourish and develop really. Rasmus A, hello, welcome back, buddy. Shout out to you. Really, really appreciate you stopping by and let me know your thoughts on this Astana versus United game. But yeah, I just think that a big game, the thing we need to look for is obviously Villa, where we need to win. And then obviously next week, where we'll be, next week is going to be big because next week we're going to be playing Spurs at Old Trafford and one Jose Mourinho is going to be coming back. And I'll actually be there. I'll actually be going there to Old Trafford. I'll be doing a preview in front of Old Trafford while I'm there, and then I'll be doing a post-match reaction in front of it as well. So just bear that in mind, guys. Don Ragnar, I get the impression Oli only brings in compliant players that won't challenge his credentials. This is why we never have another Cantona, Keane, Fernandes, Michael while he is there. I mean, to be honest, were there any of those types of players, under likes of Mourinho or Van Gaal or Moyes, for that matter? I think that a lot of the type of players that we're getting in, and we've got to bear in mind that, as Ed Woodward has sort of alluded to at the start of this, I think it was a few days ago, Ed Woodward, despite saying he's not involved in transfers, and despite saying that the manager has the final say, Ed Woodward has said that he does have his say on transfers, and he has had a disagreement with managers and certain players that the manager didn't want. He has brought into Manchester United, so it's quite possible that your sole Sergeant Mourinho's wanted those types of players into a squad, want a different type of player, but didn't come in because the board and Ed Woodward wouldn't have them, couldn't afford them, and it is what it is. As I'm saying, I haven't watched the game, but looking at the stats, it seems again we disappeared in the second half. It seems again fitness let us down, and Lucy, I agree with you. I think for the first 60 minutes we were fine, and then we just got tired, even though he made subs. And what concerns me about this whole thing, I don't know what it is, and if there's only one reason as to why I think that potentially Oli might be sacked, or should be sacked, and I don't like saying that because I like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is that we had a pre-season which was supposed to be about intense fitness, and that was going to be important, intense fitness and so on, get our fitness levels up. But yet I'm looking at this United squad, they're nowhere near as fit as Liverpool or City or other Premier League teams for that matter. So I don't know I don't know how fit they are. I don't know whether it's just that the diet or the lifestyle that a lot of these players are having as well. I don't know, but I don't see them any fitter than they were last season. But also, they're more injury prone. So we have players that aren't fitter, but are more injured. Something is up. And whether it's the United medical team, or it's the coaching methods, I don't know. But something needs to change because it's harming our players. As I'm saying, having said that, I must say that playing in minus 15 degrees isn't easy. And I think that's also a fair point. It was what people say, is that at the end of the day, I think if we lost to Astana 2-1, but I think if Arsenal playing there, they probably would have been bantered 3-0. So playing in minus is probably difficult, and the flight as well. So there obviously are factors, especially with the debut as well. So I think I take that point. Team Mikage 1, good to see you in the chat. Chong missed the sitter, he did, and the fact is, if Chong scores that sitter, it's basically 2-0 and the game is over, in my opinion. And that's the thing about fine margins, and that's the thing that these players will learn, is that it is literally fine margins. That's basically what happens. Williams is amazing though, so much better than Young and Shaw. He is. I don't think Williams played today, but I think he struggled against Sheffield United, whether that's tactically or otherwise. But I would certainly have him in my squad right now over the likes of Young or Luke Shaw at this moment in time. I think they've got to fight to get their places back, and Williams did score a very good goal against Sheffield United. But fair enough. But yeah, It happened. Unlucky boys, as I said. But we move on and stay tuned for our match preview for the Villa game this weekend. We will hopefully be doing a few streams for either FIFA, PES, or otherwise, and possibly Red Devil Studio Live. So thanks again for everyone who was watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. If you think it's hard done by, or do you think this is a result of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter at WeUnitedX. Check the links in the description for our Discord community and our podcasts. Have a nice evening, guys. Shout out to everyone that got involved. Team Takage, Don Ragnar, Rasmus A, and everyone else. Sorry, Jamie as well. Really appreciate your ongoing support. Have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.